Hey everyone, Jan here, and I am going to be reviewing Fairy Tale. And this was a long time coming because I've been reading the series for a couple years now. Um, it first started back in 2013 when I went to. This is during the time that I was living in Florida. I went to the headquarters library, like the main library, and the public library. And I was looking through the manga section because that's probably the only reason why I go to the library. Guilty as charged. But I was looking through the manga section and I find this. And they had a couple of them. I think they had 1 through 14. No, 1 through 10, I think. And I checked out like the first two volumes. And at first I was like, ooh, man. I was reading through this and my first impressions was that this gave me kind of like a One Piece vibe, the way the characters are drawn. And I don't really want to get too much into that because I know that's kind of a discussion. But yeah, I kind of got a One Piece vibe, but kind of like a better vibe. So I kept continuing reading because I caught my interest. And plus, the girls were cute. Um, yeah. Um, but it was after the arc of the Fairy Tale Civil War, which is like it ended around volume 16, 17, I think. And that's when it just I kind of lost it cuz at that up to that point, the scenarios just kept playing out the same kind of there's always this powerful villain and the power of friendship nakama always ends up winning. And now, hold on. I'm not saying that's a complete fault, but I'm just saying at some point it just gets to the point where that needs to be taken down a notch. And spoilers, about the very last chapter. I mean, not the very last chapter, the one before the very last chapter, when the whole result with Acnologia, when that battle resulted. It's just why did it end like that? Now, this is basically my big concern with this review. Is basically what it led up to. Um, it started cool. The concept was cool. The whole magic using what was fascinating, learning the new types of magic that there are, time magic, the fire magic, um, the celestial magic. It was all very cool. Well, I especially like the celestial magic. Sorry about that. Um, the most because I felt like that was the most fascinating, and I wanted to look into that more. But then at some point, I think I said during the Fairy Tale Civil War, the Edolas after that, it just kind of felt repetitive. It felt like it wasn't really going anywhere much. The characters were just on and off for me, and then it came to the Magic games. That I kind of felt more redeemed. That was like kind of the highlight of the whole thing, but then after the Magic games it went off again, and then after that I just didn't really feel it. Cuz it just felt like Hiro Mashima just didn't really it just felt like he didn't really put that much effort into the story and more about, and I'm just saying this in broad term, the ecchi. I know it's an ecchi manga and an anime, but I'm just saying that maybe he might have put his focus a bit too much on the flashiness of its looks more than the actual story. Because of course, though, it's beautiful art. By the way, its art style is fantastic. The girls are fantastic, but you need to have a balance between both. Hiro Mashima. With your first series, Rave Master, which I'm about halfway through that, it has a good balance of cool looking fight scenes with the art and the story. It's just a very good mix. That's what you needed more of. You kind of seemed like you forgot about that. And even then, there were some fans that have, for the longest time, I've been asking this and that in the story, this and that with each character, and you just didn't really seem to pay attention that much. In some instances, yes. Like, for example, I have been asking for a good death. Now, I'm not evil or anything. I'm just saying that series, when it comes to character that's really should hit you hard. At some points, I really just did not feel it. Like for example, again spoiler, of Makarov's death when it came to him using fairy law again. That got me emotional. Really, I was like, wow, this was unexpected. This is what I need right here. This is good writing, completely off the charts, unexpected. But then when he came back, I'm like, uh, expected of Hiro Mashima. This he Mashima'd it, as I'd say. But it just felt like he just didn't put all of its potential into the series from beginning to end, especially during the ending. Now the whole last arc with the Alvarez Empire, oh, that felt like a huge drag. Now if you've read, now I know I'm kind of like jumping here and there with this review, and I'm sorry about that. I'm going very broadly with this whole thing. Just stay with me. Now, if you've watched Naruto, or if you've watched the end, or have read the end of the manga during the fourth Ninja War, the whole thing, it's felt very similar to the Alvarez final part because it was just like a long drag of pointless, needless things here and there with characters and these battles, and you just kind of start losing sentimental feeling towards things. For example, very good example is when Juvia and Gray were fighting, and I forgot the name of the Alvarez dude with the glasses, but how he had taken control of them or Juvia, and they started fighting. And at that point, I was like, oh boy, no, 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 I don't want this to end the way I think it's going to end. But as you'd expect from Hiro Mashima, he brought them back, and I mean, yeah, made Wendy brought Juvia back, and Hiro Mashima did again. Um, Now, I'm not saying I wanted Juvia dead, but it would have really struck my heart and would have been like, wow, that was unexpected of Hiro Mashima, and that's what I want. I like surprises, I like unexpected things, but whenever you just kind of start killing and bringing back and killing and bringing back, you lose the sentimental feeling for characters. Now, I didn't really want to talk about this much, but when it comes to the pairings, now it seemed like Hiro Mashima kind of shoved off the Nalu fans, because really he's been teasing us fairy tale fans for like the longest time about those two, drawing fan art, even stating that he would name their daughter Nachi, and even drew like a art of what she would look like, and but then during that ending just basically gives you nothing, gives you the Groovia, gives you um kinda gives you Jalal and Urza. Yeah, I guess that was actually kind of disappointing on my part because I was really into those two. Um, and also Gigio and Levy, but yeah, it just felt like he really didn't answer the obvious statements of his fans. He obviously knew, but he didn't do it, and I just felt like as an author, you don't always have to appeal to what the fans say. It is your series, and you do what you do, but at some point, you've at least got to give in to the most obvious demand. At least Nalu. Now I'm just not saying it as a Nalu advocate. Well, I do support it though, but okay. Next point in the ending is Acnologia. Now that whole thing with Acnologia, whenever he was put into the time vortex, um, I was like, oh goody, but I knew that wasn't gonna be it because it's Hiro Mashima. He's probably gonna want to drag it out a bit more in some pointless fight of sentimental friendship, and he did, and I'm like, ah, that's expected, and it's kind of disappointing. That whole fight was kind of pointless because he's the most powerful being in the universe now, besides whenever, um, yeah, but that, except whenever Zeref was the most powerful being at that one instance. It's just so stupid. That's what I'm talking about. Whenever it comes to these villains, oh, they seem like they're completely unstoppable, but yet they aren't. They just aren't. Cause of course friendship always wins, guys. Friendship and love conquers all. Doesn't matter what kind of powers you have. And that is the lesson at the very end that we always have to learn. No matter what, love and friendship conquers all. And that's understandable, but when it comes to the point that the final boss is just utterly defeated because of the idealism of friendship, is kind of stupid, and it's just very disappointing. I wish that fight could have been much more. But at least he did acknowledge Natsu as the Dragon King. That was cool. Yeah, well, pretty much that is what I think about it. So, out of what you got from that, I would give it about 3, 4 stars. At 4 stars because it was enjoyable most part, but the story kind of lacks throughout, and I hope you can deal with that through the amazing art. So that's why I give it a 4 out of 5. It does have redeeming points, so I still recommend it. If you still for some reason watch this with the spoilers. So that was my review of Fairy Tail. If you liked what you heard, just leave a comment and like down below, and also follow me on my Twitter, and even subscribe to me. I'd appreciate it. And see you next review, guys. See ya.